J. Lord J. It's been a while since I made a video for you because I've been living my life and learning and growing through it, and also going through my own shifts too. So what I wanted to bring to you now is an opportunity. I believe it is time for us to come together and actually figure out what strong suits each of us are well equipped with and how we would like to use those, because that makes a difference too in terms of how we play together and how we work together and how we make a shift from playing and working being different factors to actually collaborate the two, play and work together, so that we can make work less work-like and actually learn to play more because we're actually having fun doing the things that we're doing. And I believe that the way that we do that is by coming together, figuring out who's who has what of those resources are shareable based on desire, which is personal and private, and not the business of everyone, nor necessarily anyone. And having these distinctions clear within our own selves first is really vital. And precisely what I've been working on in my own realm, because I will not lead people where I have not ventured myself and figured out, because what I have come to know is that there are a lot of stages. And Shakespeare, who you can shake a spear at, said it best when he said, "We are all but actors on the stage of life. We all play roles for a time. But in the scheme of things," I'm paraphrasing, but in the scheme of things, why that is so vital is because what is vital and what is material was ultimately what Socrates was executed for stating is the essential difference between what is real and unreal in life. And if we don't realize this, if we don't get back to the absolute basics, go back to the beginning, ab initio, if we don't figure out why certain stories are said to be the beginning for us, then we won't be able to close the gap. 8800 was the number there, which 88 is when zero wears a belt. I thought that was funny. But it's also the infinity of the hourglass. And hourglass is when we recognize that the private and public are the two sections within the hourglass. That is only hourglass when we recognize we are the ones who play the roles in other people's lives, because everything is relative, quite literally, when we are relatives to one another or relative to what one another do, and allow ourselves to be defined by, and then pay the fines because we said, okay, sure, yeah, know me as this way. I'll take on that stigma just so that I can play the part for you. Well, the hero's journey is a concept near and dear to my heart, because I literally wrote a book on the sacred sojourn of now that took the hero's journey to a spiritual perspective. And I changed the sacred, or the funny error, not an error, or I would allow myself to be defined by the error of seeing myself to be the noun instead of the verb of being able to benefit instead of defined as the beneficiary. So the dark night of the soul was what I was going for. I broke it into two sections within the sacred sojourn of the soul, because I believe that it is important for us to see the dark night with a K of the ego that dies first with the statuses, titles, personages, and ways that we've been capped by all of the identities that have capped what we believe ourselves to be, and then get taken away because we don't need all of those caps the way that we thought that we did before. And that's what we came to break free of as the ones who came to reserve our right to privacy within the top of the hourglass, where all of our grains of life force energy exist until dropped into the public realm of High Rose Prism, which we can get into another day, because that's where the hieros gamos of divine union within is actually stemming from, I believe. But the second part to it is the dark night of the soul, or the dark light of the soul, I should say. The dark light of the soul is where we fight ourselves. And when I went through an expanded state of awareness in 2019, I didn't handle well as to why I made the call that changed it all, that got me locked up for 2.5 life-changing weeks under the Mental Health Act. That I self-surrendered in order to get tested to prove my significance and specialness, but also I was trying to save myself from what I had tuned into having been detected. But all of that sounds very far-fetched and far from the realm of possibility. And I recognize, in retrospect, why it all went down as it did. And I'm also grateful to my soul for surrendering when I did, because I'll never do it again, as I did then. I will never allow another to speak for me, because I experienced what it's like when you don't have the final vote in what you believe to be right and best for you, and you no longer are part of the crew who get to decide. That's a problem. So the dark light of the soul is where we fight ourselves, and we actually sometimes externalize that fight, as I was doing when I was seeing the dark white or the black, white, and gray colors of vehicles and clothes in my surroundings, that I was taking very literally, but also recognizing that it was more symbolic, mythic, energetic, without expressing that in a way that others understood. I wasn't seeing the things that I was speaking to in a literal fashion. But I speak of fashion and we think of clothes, and then we don't know is about the curse of Noah in Genesis, and the fact that Genesis is the first part of a manor role, which is a court role, which is how we are drawn into the king's court. So what I would like to support is the unification of us, the hieros gamos of us who can actually have a game, where we realize it would be a shame if we couldn't stop blaming, complaining, and justifying behaviors like victims do who need a persecutor to be the villain in the story that has a hero coming to save the victim from what they can't save themselves from. And that's why the hero's journey is a trap, just as sovereignty, freemen of the land, private membership associations, and so many other popular tactics that are being used by people who I believe are leading people onto stages, as I was speaking to earlier. And those stages have air underneath of them. Those stages have church, state constructs underneath of them, under ecclesiastical law and canon law, which is the church, or the A for air of law, land, air, water, that are underneath, waiting for the stage, which seems to be and is said to be a solid platform, for the trapdoor to be pulled, and all those who followed those who said they were safe go down and fall low and owe their fall to the one who led them astray onto a stage that they said was solid, and it wasn't. And I never want to do that, and haven't. So I have not wanted to lead others astray. When I was following other initiatives, like the, when I got involved in producing the Michael and Laura show in order to ask the questions that I wanted in order to learn about the, I can't even think of, it's Church Universal and Triumphant, or it's Clarissa Pincola Estes. She has a great book. It's not her at all, but do have a look at Women Who Run with Wolves, I believe it's called. That's a fantastic book. But Elizabeth Clare Prophet is who founded, and her partner Mark, who was her mentor before that, their work. That is another entrapment that I got involved with for 6 months to a year, I can't quite remember, in 2021, where I may have led others astray because I helped produce these videos, which then there were pieces in my collaboration with a supporter and follower of that school of thought for nearly 40 years. There was a rift that took place that helped me shift in my allegiance to the construct that I was only really getting into because of the one who introduced it to me, as so oftentimes happens, as to why I'm wary of leading people where I haven't walked myself to know that the path is solid there. And I share this because I see far too many people being led astray and told that a platform is solid when it is just a stage waiting for us to be played by one another, because of the roles that we play with being the other, that we step into in order to be professional, where work and play are different, supposedly, and that we can do something in the name of work, follow an order that hurts someone that we may or may not know in our private lives or community, but we don't need to because they're a no name and they're not relevant to us. It's just a name on a page. Those four corners of the page, that's where we sign our name to be drawn into Anubis's realm of the underworld, of the corporate realm. And all of these pieces are very vital and valid and relevant. And I wanted to keep this under 10 minutes, but given I am presently conveying myself, I'm not keeping track of the time. And I say conveying myself because I'm doing so literally through movement of my vessel in a vessel, as well as trying to convey to you through a screen or device that may make it seem like I am in real time, for I am. But when you watch me, I am in a different present moment to the one you will be in when you view me telling you this about the now we presently share, based on the convergence of where you're at and I'm at, based on when you view me be here now. Then you are there in your own moment, watching me in mine, feeling like you're with me. And I hope you are, because I appreciate you. And if you want to give this message a like, it'll help with the algorithms, given I am heavily shadow banned, and that's okay. Because in the scheme of things, none of what is online is ours anyway. And that is why October 26th and 27th, we're gonna have a hybrid event. And I'm looking for people who wish to step up and be part of a progressive event that is both online and in person. It's gonna be at Soul's Path Retreats in Blackstock for the present portion of it, where we come together to be present, present, where we will be together. And it's also going to have streamed sections, because then you can tune into the stream of consciousness of us who are present together. And I turn there because it'll be a turning point for those who come and for those who tune in to different levels based on access. Because if you get yourself in the room, you have an opportunity to not just Zoom with someone. The venue will mean that you have access to others who also enter the venue in order to gain access to the people who will be there. And we can keep track of one another better that way, because then we actually get to know one another beyond just the screen and what we see there. We can check in privately, and that matters. It also matters for us to be able to share information that is progressive. Free energy, sustainable living, community building, that's going to be one concept or one area that we're going to be focused on. Art, in both artistry, music, visual arts, however art comes through, that's going to be another piece to this. Holistic health, that is another piece. and the law. I've been under the weather, and there is weather clouds above as well. And I'm gonna have a drink because my voice has been strained in sharing all of this in what is a significantly longer message now than what I'd intended, and I appreciate your still being with me. But I wanted to invite you to save the day for October 26th and 27th. I would also invite you to join the Peaceful Inner Warriors United Inner Circle call that I'll be hosting Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on Zoom, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to come together, and those who wish to be involved can share the extent to which they wish to be. And then we can start connecting and unifying. And there's a dead rabbit. So Follow the White Rabbit was actually never what we thought or were taught through Alice in Wonderland, which was more than just a movie or a book. And there's so much more to say here, but there's always another video to do it in until there isn't. But at this point, what I know for sure is that I have been moving through my own healing process. I've been moving through a great humbling too, and finding where I have not necessarily been as effective as what I wish to have been. And while it definitely is uncomfortable to find out where I have had shortcomings unintentionally, I'm grateful for it. I was checking the price of gas. Oh, this guy's coming out. Not knowing I was turning here, though I did signal. That's enough. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. I would love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to know if you would like to be part of the Inner Circle call on Tuesday, September 9th, 9/9 at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is as much as we're going to do today. So as I pull up to fill up, I say, have yourself an amazing day.